You ever notice how some people hear the words, let's go out, and immediately feel tired? Not physically tired, mentally tired. Like their brain just pictured traffic, noise, small talk, and the awkward moment where everyone pretends they're having fun. And meanwhile, you're at home. Lights dim, comfortable clothes, your favorite chair, maybe a snack within arm's reach. And you think, why would I leave this? If that sounds a little too familiar, yeah, this video is probably about you, or someone you know very well. Because loving to stay at home isn't laziness, it's not antisocial, and it's definitely not boring. In fact, psychology suggests it often points to a set of surprisingly rare traits most people don't notice because they're too busy being outside. So let's talk about the hidden psychology behind people who genuinely love staying at home and what it quietly says about who you are. First, there's the deep processor. This is the person whose mind never really shuts off. You're not just thinking, you're replaying conversations, imagining future scenarios, analyzing random thoughts that pop up out of nowhere. A trip outside isn't just a trip, it's sensory overload. Sounds, faces, expectations. At home, though, your thoughts finally have space to breathe. Silence isn't empty for you. It's rich, it's productive, it's where ideas connect. Psychologically, this links to high internal stimulation. Your brain generates enough activity on its own that it doesn't crave constant external input. That's rare. Most people need noise to avoid their thoughts. You stay home because your inner world is already loud and interesting. If you've ever felt more energized after a quiet evening alone than after a night out, that's not weakness, that's mental depth. Then there's the emotional minimalist. You're not cold, you're selective. You don't want 10 shallow interactions, you want one real one, maybe two. Anything beyond that feels performative, like you're spending emotional currency on things that don't matter. So staying home becomes a form of emotional efficiency. You choose comfort over chaos, familiarity over forced connection. You'd rather recharge than recover. Psychology ties this to high self-emotional awareness. You know your limits, you know what drains you, and instead of pushing past them to fit in, you quietly opt out. And here's the twist. People like this often have deeper relationships overall, because when they do show up, they're fully present, not scattered, not exhausted, just real. Then there's the autonomy-driven mind. This is the person who hates unnecessary rules, schedules, and expectations, not because you're rebellious, but because you value control over your time and energy. Going out often comes with invisible contracts. Stay this long, act this way, spend this much, respond to these cues. At home, you're free. You decide when things start, when they end, and how they feel. You can change your mind without explaining yourself. Psychologically, this connects to high self-directedness. You're motivated internally, not socially. You don't need constant validation to feel alive. That's rare in a world built on external approval. And it's one reason people like this are often misunderstood. They're not hiding, they're choosing. Then there's the comfort strategist. This one's subtle. You're not avoiding life, you're optimizing it. You've learned, consciously or not, that peace is a resource and chaos spends it fast. So you build environments that protect your nervous system. Lighting you like, sounds you control, spaces that don't demand performance. Staying home isn't about fear, it's about regulation. From a psychological standpoint, this often shows high sensitivity, not weakness, but heightened perception. Your brain picks up more signals than average, more nuance, more shifts in tone, mood, energy. So you create a space where your system can finally relax. And once you've experienced that level of calm, loud environments start to feel unnecessary. Not everyone understands that, but your body does. And finally, there's the quiet observer. You notice patterns others miss. Social dynamics, micro-expressions, power shifts in conversations. Being around people is fascinating, but also exhausting because you're always watching, always absorbing. Home gives you distance, a place to process what you've seen, to reflect instead of react. Psychologically, this links to high cognitive empathy and introspection. You don't just experience life, you study it. That's why staying home often fuels creativity, insight, and emotional intelligence. Your mind needs downtime to connect the dots. So if you love staying at home, it doesn't mean you're missing out on life. It might mean you experience life more deeply than most. Maybe you saw yourself in one of these, maybe in several. Or maybe you're thinking of someone who finally makes a little more sense now. The question is, are you staying home because you're avoiding the world, or because you've learned how to listen to yourself? If this resonated, sit with that thought. And if you want more psychology like this, stories that quietly explain why people are the way they are, you already know where to find it.